Welcome everyone to the American's Voice, and I am your host Yanni. Happy Sunday to everyone. Glad to have you guys here with us again. At the beginning of the week, your starting pitcher, getting you guys ready and set, go. We're about 18 days away from the election, and we have an opportunity to go and vote and represent our country to the fullest. That's our responsibility. Quick housekeeping, obviously. You guys can find episodes of the American's Voice over at SoundCloud as well on that platform. And if you want to drop an email to me, you can drop an email at theamericasheartbeat@yahoo.com. Americasheartbeat@yahoo.com, excuse me. You can drop messages and input and stuff like that. We love to hear that, guys. We have a jam-packed show for you guys this Sunday. You guys are going to be totally fired up and chomping off at the bit because it is about passing information. Nowadays, we have a term called fake news, or the fake media, or fake people. And they're populating everything. They're populating social media. We're going to talk about that. They're populating the halls of Congress. We're going to talk about that. They're populating American society. It's permeating and it's starting to do long-term damage. And what do to mitigate the damage? You elect Donald J. Trump for another 4 years here in America because we definitely need to get this country back on track. Guys, I would not be on this microphone if the world was the way it should be, if America was in the condition it need to be in. Right now, it's not the president's fault. So many times, we want to blame him, and we don't stop for a second to look in the mirror and say, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one with the problem. Maybe I'm the one with the issues. Maybe I'm the one that needs to make some adjustments, right? But we don't think about that. What happened to taking responsibility for your actions, for the things that you say? How many of these people you hear out here nowadays, when they send out a tweet, and the tweet that they send out, they're excited about it. The urge to express themselves is there. The desire to pierce their foe like a javelin through the heart to eliminate them from and exterminate them from the earth. And they write this scathing tweet to tear up the individual, make them look bad. You guys know how they do it, right? And in the process, they're tearing up the country. And once they send it out and they get caught, or they witness a backlash in their life personally, this is what happens. They hit delete. You know, that old delete button, it's that break glass in case of emergency type situation, right? When you feel like that you have to really get yourself out of a situation, you break that glass. But anyways, that's just kind of the mindset. We're about to move on. But I got some questions for you guys today. And I want you to think about this question. It's going to be two of them. And I'm going to sit and I'm going to expand on it a little bit. Expand it out and expound on it. But my first question is, if you are a Trump supporter, why are you voting for Trump? If you are voting for the man that everyone calls a racist, everyone calls him a xenophobe, everyone calls him a liar, everyone calls him the worst president that's ever been in American history, well, I'm not buying that. But with all the rhetoric that you're hearing out there on the airwaves, why are you voting for Donald Trump? I can tell you why I am. And I'm not here endorsing Trump, but I am endorsing Trump, you know? Because when you ask him a question, he gives you an answer. And that's what we want from our politicians, right? We want an answer if we ask a question. And they seem to be tongue-tied nowadays, or they have what I call the twisting theory or tuck-telling in the wind, and they can't be straight with the people. I guess that's how you become a politician. You begin to lie and tell those stories. I got a good story for you. You know, I was looking at an article the other day, a couple days ago, and Joe Biden, he was telling stories. He was having one of his little get-togethers, and we're gonna get to that in a second. You guys gonna love this. But he was telling one of his stories, and I looked at the article clipping, and they're like, "Oh, Joe Biden, you know, he started telling stories again." Are we telling stories, or are we running the country? We have a country to run. Stories are great. I don't knock stories, but right now, attempting to figure out how to handle this pandemic, attempting to figure out how to dismantle every single one of these leftists that don't love this country. Every single one of these lefties that feel like the utopia can be built as long as they, one, defeat Republicans, two, eradicate conservatives, and all the Christian people, right? They don't like Christian people either. That's the problem I have with the Democratic Party as well. They're not like they used to be. Back in the day, they tolerated religion. They tolerated Christianity. Now even Catholicism is on the chopping block. Only until it's time for them to be elected. When it's not election season, oh yeah, consequences are all the same to me. They're just kind of like Nancy Pelosi. You love that term. I love that term. Oh, I don't care much about statues. But that's what she does. And so, why are you voting for Trump? And I want you to answer this question yourself. Why are you doing this? Why does he appeal to you? I asked this question because I'm going to show you why America appeals to Donald Trump and Donald Trump appeals to America. He loves this country. We got so many things to cover, so let's get moving. My next question: why are you voting for Joe Biden? Sleepy, creepy Joe. You know, the guy that loves rubbing the hair on 4-year-olds' legs and or let them rub on his legs when he get out the pool. Oh, they come and rub on my legs. Oh, what was I just saying? And the president has been on the stump here recently, and he's been talking about the inadequacies of Joe Biden and the inability to coherently complete sentences all the time. The rallies that he does. I am blown away by people telling me that this man is up in the polls. How is this possible? How is it possible that this guy is up in the polls and he can't even draw flies with honey, with sugar and saccharose and all types of sweeteners, raw sugar, pure cane sugar, all mixed together, still can't draw one fly? Well, except for it's the fly that's on his left leg that actually stumbled into the sugar by accident. Oh, is this a Joe Biden? This is a rally? Where's all the people? Got a guy over there, he's like 90 years old. Yeah, he's really going to save America. Where's his Geritol? And so this stuff is a joke. So why are you voting for Joe Biden? They never can give an answer. They never can give a defense. All they do is run or argue or say how much they hate Trump. Is that what you want for your country? Is that criteria for voting? I think that's something to think about. Is that criteria for voting? The right, proper context. I'm going to vote for that candidate because I don't like the other guy. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're living in this era and this mindset right now, we're in trouble. But I don't believe that. I believe in the American people. I believe in the mind, the fight, and believe that we have better days ahead. That's what I believe. So, those are some questions I have. They never can answer. How is he up in the polling? Everybody's wondering. Do you believe the polls? Really, think about it. 2016, Hillary Clinton was due to beat the brakes off of Donald Trump in a landslide. That's what they said. Right? She was doomed to beat him. She was the unbeatable candidate. She was the most smartest woman to ever run for the presidency. The only woman, actually, to be honest with you, that got that far. she still fell short. And now we have our clone, Kamala Harris. And I guarantee you, there are tons of criminals in California that have a problem with Miss Kamala Harris due to her locking them up. Also Joe Biden, but we'll cover that later. But you guys remember 2016. I want to get off into a video bite here of Joe Biden. You know, him and Trump. First of all, let me shape this picture for you guys real quick. You know, last week we had dueling town halls. Today we have President Trump in Nevada and we have Joe Biden in North Carolina. Well, it's funny because Trump's gatherings are always called rallies. Joe Biden is like, oh, giving words or addressing or whatever. And that's proof he can't draw flies. Video bite 1.
Hello, North Carolina. Thank you. And I want to thank the speakers ahead of me. Commissioner, soon to be Commissioner Jessica Holmes. Where are you, Jessica? Over half the people in America said they got a bill for $400 they didn't expect in 1 month they wouldn't be able to pay it. Folks are worried about making their next mortgage payment or rent payment, whether their health care will be ripped away in the middle of a pandemic, worried about sending their kids to school, worried about not sending their kids to school. His administration gave Wall Street investors a heads up, but he didn't tell us, just his friends on Wall Street. That's why they made so much. We can build an economy that gets everyone a fair return on their work, an equal chance to get ahead. America. And we should have no tolerance for extremist white supremacist group marching and menacing our communities. We're the ones getting killed. We're the ones getting shot. We've been hung. It's amazing why we keep loving this country and this country doesn't love us back. Class community in America. A place that offered the country a glimpse of what we could become if we chose to live up to our founding values. If they get their way, 100 million Americans will lose their protections for pre-existing conditions. Complication of COVID-19 will become the next pre-existing condition, allowing insurers to jack up your premiums or deny your coverage altogether. I will build on the Affordable Care Act so you can keep your private insurance. You can choose a Medicare-like option. We're going to increase subsidies and lower your premiums and deductibles of out-of-pocket spending. Look, your governor's been working hard to expand Medicaid, but it's being blocked by Republican legislature. Stand up and take back our democracy. No more time left. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
And there he is, cars and all. You know, they really take this COVID thing really, really serious. And I guarantee you, all those who are voting for him, every single one of those psychotic moonbats. And you say, why are you calling them names, Johnny? Well, because they've been calling us names time and time and time again. And you know what? You get to a point to where you get tired of them calling you names over and over and over again. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt, they say, right? Well, we're throwing stones and sticks and words too, because we're going to claw and beat back every single last one of you people. You guys want to do grave damage with the likes of Marxism, the likes of socialism, single-payer medicine, government-controlled healthcare. Why is the government in healthcare? Who made the government the sole proprietor of healthcare, and that the American people have to, we just have to worship at the altar of the government to hope they give us some healthcare? It's absurd. In the 70s and 60s and 50s and 40s and 30s, people worked and they paid for their health care. You get the government involved in things, and what happens? The price goes up. It always does. It never ends. Anyways, Let's move on. Today, Donald Trump is outworking his opponent. He's doing the 1-2 step. He's shucking and jiving. He's throwing the blows. He's letting his opponent have it. First, he appears for a private fundraiser in Southern California, Newport Beach. And I said about a week or two ago, what if California turned red? Wouldn't that be crazy? Under the radar. The president not even campaigning in California. The president flying over and just stopping for a second. And this happened right here. Video bite number 2, please. So I'm looking at this. You see it. I saw it. American flags, Trump flags, cars honking. And then the president stops and starts to wave to people. You hear the lady saying, I saw him. I saw the president. Let me tell you something, guys. The enthusiasm that the presidential side of Trump, what they're experiencing, the excitement, it is unmatched. It has never been seen before, ever. I'm telling you. Trust me on this one here. Obama had crowds. And I'm not taking anything from Mr. Obama. He had crowds. And I'm sure people loved Obama too. But people are actually saying on the campaign trail, it started about a couple weeks ago, Trump said. They started saying, "We love you." And if you think about those words in this country, "we love you," and they're talking to the president. Has never been seen at a rally before. We love you. What they're basically saying is, because you fight for America, we love you. When they came up with the Mueller report and the Russia crap, you could have quit, but you didn't. So we love you. The opioid addiction that we have, problem that we had in this country, that was going under the radar unaddressed. You handled it. That's why we love you. Our borders were being overran by people coming from the South and China and other parts of the world, uninvited, coming in, taking jobs, bringing diseases back here that was eradicated. And you said you were going to build a wall. And right now, there is a wall being built, and they're saying, "We love you." What more can you say? Whether you like Trump or not, Trump is making a stamp on this world. And the reason why I've been talking so much about President Trump of late, because I see the importance of him winning this election, and so we can cement. And we're not like those left moonbats out there talking crazy. I want the Senate, I want the presidency, I want this, and I want to get rid of everybody so we can make this utopia that doesn't exist. It never will exist. So, 2 rallies. One with cars that has little importance, and then another with people with the hearts beating, blood in the veins, red, white, and blue. Video bite number 3. Trump in North Nevada today. Let's go.
Crowd. When did we set this up? Like 2 days ago? We'll be in Carson City in about 2 days, and the people come out like crazy. But you know, strange things are happening in North Carolina. A lot of people are out there voting. You know those lines? By the way, we're proving it for everybody that needs it, free of charge, because it wasn't your fault, okay? But let's change it. When you vote for me, prosperity will surge. Your taxes will be cut even further. You know, I gave you the biggest tax cut. The pandemic is rounding the turn. It's rounding, and we have the vaccines coming, and they go crazy, the fake news. And it will. And next year will be the greatest economic year in the history of our country for everybody. You know, we cut your regulations. It used to take up to 21 years to get a highway approved. Can you believe it? 21 something approved. And we have it down to 2 years. I think I'll have it down to 1 year. And it may be disapproved if it's environmentally not. Do you ever see this guy? For a year and a half, there will be no fracking, no fracking, no fracking. Then he goes to a great place, Pennsylvania, and they say, by the way, we have 1 million jobs for fracking. Oh, we will have fracking. We will have. But Biden wants to launch a socialist takeover of health care to cut our military budget, and he wants to cut it right to the bone. If you vote for Biden, he will surrender your job. They ravaged our cities while sacrificing American blood and treasure in endless, ridiculous. From the Washington Times, which is a really good newspaper, by the way, and he reported very strongly, the crowds were unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I don't know why we wouldn't win California. We're playing it a little bit. In theory, you're not supposed to be able.
What a contrast. What a stark difference. It's like night and day. You know, you got a guy come out here and they don't want to show the crowds for Joe Biden because he has no crowds. The flip side, they don't want to show the crowd for Trump because they don't want to be embarrassed. You know, I'm telling the truth. They do not want to be embarrassed. They're frauds, every last one of them. And so it's imperative that we expose them for who they are. So as I look at these 2 pictures here, the 2 contrasts, I want you guys to understand the difference between Biden and Trump. Biden to me is like that guy that, you know, he likes the girl, he really wants to go out with her, and, you know, and as he starts to try to date her, you know, he brings her a little rose. That's so cute. You know, he brings her a little box of Russell Stover's chocolates and being nice. And, you know, when they go down to a little restaurant downtown and, you know, he lets her buy what she wants off the menu. And then when they want to spend time, you know, he says, you know, I'm working or I'm busy. And you know, he really likes her, but he doesn't like her enough, but he likes what she can give him. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? She likes what he can give him. And once he has the opportunity to take it, he goes for it. I submit to you, that man that's trying to take that woman, the woman is the USA. The woman is America. On the flip side of that coin, we have Donald J. Trump. Trump, to me, as I see the crowds, I see them chanting, "We love you." Donald Trump is courting America again. He courted America in 2016, said the things what he's going to do, went on the campaign trail, blazing fire. As soon as he came down the escalator, everyone hated him almost immediately. But those who lived in this country that know what America looks like, they embraced Donald Trump. They embraced this message. They embraced what he stood for, and they believed him. I believed him. And the reason why I did is because just like Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. Not once did he ever say, I have a plan. Can you imagine what I have a plan speech instead of I have a dream? The dream is what propelled him into the position that he was in to be used as a vessel. And that was him. So Trump is courting America. But I want to get off into this courting thing. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be right back with your captain, Yanni. Hear the American's voice. Be right back.
Just breathe and lower the barricade. It's new to leave it alone. I am only scared that I am a note. It's not a matter of fact, an illusion. Things are sent to your back, sound stupid. It's just a figure of speech. Sing through your eyes. I was thinking you should relax. It's just nothing. This isn't good for your head or something. It's just a line in the sea. To survive. I know you're running alone. Who cares? It's all coming back to me. We'll wait for this to be gone. I'm only scared that I'll sink in. It's not a matter of fact, an illusion. Things are sent to your back, sound stupid. It's just a figure of speech. Sing through your eyes. I was thinking you should relax. It's just nothing. This isn't good for your head or something. It's just a line in the sea. To survive. It's not a matter of fact, an illusion. Things are sent to your back, sound stupid. It's just a figure of speech. Sing through your eyes. I was thinking you should relax. It's just nothing. This isn't good for your head or something. It's just a line in the sea. To survive.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We are going to continue to move on and dissect everything that we need to dissect as we're coasting down the highway of intelligence and knowledge, dealing with only the truth and hammering the facts every single day. Oh, yes. So, continue where I was at before we cut for a second. I want to talk about November 2019. You know, we have so many things going on right now in the world. We have the Hunter Biden laptop situation. Haven't seen this much drama over a laptop, probably with the exception of Anthony Weiner. And what an exceptional name for a man that was a pervert, right? Weiner. Okay. I saw that whole laptop story. I didn't eat hot dogs for a month. It was amazing. But in 2019, they were in process of impeaching the president of the United States of America for a call with Ukraine. You guys remember that. And for you guys that don't know, they were attempting to impeach the president, trying to say that he was attempting to gather or collect dirt on the Bidens, which was his political opponent, which at the time, when this call was made, Joe Biden wasn't even a candidate. That was a front runner. So that blows that narrative out the water. But the bucket carrying media, they still ran with the story. And the story got bigger and bigger and bigger. You guys remember the Russia thing, right? The Russia situation hurled America for 2.5 years into peril, uncertainty. And it really sucks because the American people had to bear the brunt of that. We had to feel the pain of the news, the apprehension you feel if you think that your president is a Russian agent. Come on, Donald Trump, he's been in this country all his life. It's all he's known. Aside from him having to deal with the racial question that he gets all the time, the racist slurs that are hurled at him continuously. It is a sad state of affairs. But I say this though, because the Bidens, they wanted to help the Bidens. I'm talking about the FBI. And that FBI director, Christopher Wray, he needs to either one, resign, or Trump needs to fire him. I've never seen so much stonewalling in my life. When the evidence is plain and clear, they still don't want to give it up. And if they don't want to give it up, that means they don't want to give it to you. They're holding the information from you. They're just as bad as the tech companies, which we're going to tear up in a little bit here too as well. The American people are tired of this crap, the constant lies, all the time. And I understand national intelligence situations and stuff like that, to where information for reasons to protect parties or, their agents are in the field. I understand that type of stuff. But when you are spying on the president of the United States, when you are penetrating their campaigns using false media clippings, Hillary Clinton dossiers, and guys, you know that's out there now, right? Obama, Brennan, Clinton, they knew she was peddling this story, this Russian narrative that got the whole country in a mess. So the ladies that were going for Hillary Clinton, for looking to her for an example, she's rotten to the core. And I hope you guys see this. And in fact, the liberal ears, they're immune from learning facts. They're immune from hearing facts. They're immune from understanding facts. And their days are like Groundhog's Day. That's why they keep asking the president to denounce white supremacy. And he's done like 80,000 times on tape, on video. They got the president of the United States denouncing this stuff. And here they go, still bringing it up every single day. So dishonest. And when he says something that's going to hurt him at a rally, the red lights go off because they're frauds. But this is the reason why this is important. Because the emails that they found on the laptop contained information the president was looking for on that phone call. That's what he was looking for. He was looking for the information that would tie, not Hunter, so to speak, but it was Biden, something that he heard of. And then once they got that tape and the people that are on the call, you think the president will incriminate himself? That's dumb as hell. But they claimed that he was trying to find dirt on his opponent, which wasn't an opponent because he wasn't a front runner. And when all the stuff was going on, Biden wasn't even in the run for presidency. So he wasn't even a candidate at the time. So all this crap the media pushes, and you guys should be upset at the media for all the lies all the time. The media lies to us constantly. And they want to tell you that Donald Trump is the one that's lying. Is he really the one that's lying? How is this possible that a man lies every time he opens his mouth? That's what they want you to believe about Donald Trump. Here's the fact about Joe Biden. He's a corrupt politician, ladies and gentlemen. He's been there for almost 48 years, okay, in Washington. What has he done? What has he done but enrich himself? When he left office, I believe they were six-figure earners. A few later after he was out of office, they made $17 million. If you go to Washington to serve, how's it that you guys always leave and you get rich? The Obamas, the Clintons, the Bushes had money, but I'm sure they had more. But with the Bushes, at least I can say for W. Bush, he had a little bit of wealth already. He didn't use Washington to enrich himself initially, but I believe he did some things for his father, which isn't here anymore. So what was it for? But with 16 or so days, 16, 17 days, 18 days before an election, Joe Biden got caught with his hand in the cookie jar with his son that was a derelict. He was derelict of his duty in the military. He was derelict of his life. And Now the sins of his son comes back that haunts the father. So what do? He's caught. You have all of the minions trying to suppress the story. Every platform, every news station, every Democrat, and some Americans in this country, because of the way the information is distributed in the country, lies. So I say this here, we need to pause and investigate. Wouldn't you guys agree that we need to pause and investigate and just to see what's going on? Make sure that there's no funny business. Now, Joe Biden could be innocent. Not. But he could be innocent. Let's just say Joe Biden's innocent. Well, at the end, when it's all said and done, we put a keystroke up his rear end and we do him just like the president for 2.5 years, whether he wins or not. I think that's a good one. But no, with the media, full steam ahead. Let's just keep moving. This is our candidate, which is a weak candidate, by the way. Joe Biden's a very weak candidate. Did I tell you guys that Joe Biden's a weak candidate? He's a weak candidate. What substance have you guys heard him say or spew out or spill out or spit out on the campaign trail? What truths have you heard him hit you with to where you're sitting in your seat and you're plastered, you're rubbing your head because you're like, oh my gosh, this guy has so much truth and depth. Even if he was saying things that were simple, even if he said things like, I want to make sure we build coal plants and don't give me anything else. Look, America, I will be happy with that. Wouldn't you be happy with that? At least you're getting something from him. At least he's lying to me before he becomes president. But you can't even answer the question about packing courts. You can't even answer the question or tell me if you want to drop the filibuster rule, if you're in favor of that. Not that you're going to do it, but your party's going to do it. You're the one who said that, you were against fracking and it was going away. Just like your predecessor, not Obama, your old boss, that you guys are going to put all coal factories or coal industries, everyone in the coal industry out of business. And Obama was good at his word on that. Where did the jobs go, ladies and gentlemen? The jobs left. They packed up. They was like, I see I ain't wanted here. I'm out of here. And so they took off, and I don't blame them. And so here's what I say. As they go full steam ahead with this nothing to see here but crickets on Biden, it shows me one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that Biden, once again, in his corruption, if I'm correct, let me use this analogy here. Birds of a feather flock together. They eat together, they sleep together, they cry together, they die together, and they're going to go to jail together. And so if he's corrupted, that means Obama is corrupt as well. Now let that sink in for a second. Yeah, your little precious Obama. Dumbo, the one with the big old ears. When Obama was president, I still respected the office of the presidency. I wanted nothing to happen to Obama. Unlike people out here now wishing death on the president of the United States of America. But what Obama wasn't able to get done, don't doubt me on this, ladies and gentlemen. What Obama was not able to get done, if we allow these guys to get elected, believe me, they are going to do what they say they're going to do. They're going to pack the courts. They're going to do that. Okay? They're going to drop that filibuster rule so they can get everything through. Going back to packing the courts, they're going to increase them to 12, 13, 14 to where they have an advantage. So if we have a problem as a conservative, if you have a problem just as a normal American, if you have a problem as an atheist in America, and it opposes their views, you're going to go to the Supreme Court and they're going to shoot you down and they're going to have you by the gonads. All swollen and stuff. It's not awesome. It's not awesome. And so they're going to get everything they want. If they get control of the Senate, control of the House, They'll have their foot on the gas full speed. And so in plain sight, they're showing you what they're going to do. They're telling you what they're going to do. Better take them serious. Okay? And as I think about this, as I look at the looting and the burning, kind of makes me think about 1984. Right? So take what the left says is true. Please take them at their word, ladies and gentlemen. Get out there and vote. They will pack that court. They will drop that filibuster. They will raise your taxes. They will ram through their agenda. Abortion with no limits on demand. I'm telling you, even to the final trimester, that's what they're going to do. They will ban fracking. They will bow at the prostate of climate change, which climate does change all the time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, it was hot today. It's cool outside now because the climate is constantly changing. So we make a religion out of all this stuff. We turn it into a law. We put it on the American people and we expect them to follow it to the letter, and they don't follow it themselves. Hypocrites. And they will abolish the police. They will get rid of the Border Patrol. They will get rid of ICE. They will tear down the wall. They will invite the world. They will end America. It's just a fact. And so, yeah, we have to have sobering words today as we're dealing with this crap to defeat these enemies and tear them up and throw them in the trash. Not the people themselves, because I love every single American, even if they are leftists. But their ideology, is time for us to defeat it once and for all. Because if we don't doubt me, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the end of this great country here. The greatest experiment that we've ever had in the world, right here in the US of A. It'll be gone. So I'm here with everyone else to defend and hold up the guard and hold up the armor and show everyone that we are the ones who will capture back America and give us another 100 years, another 200 years, hell, another 1,000 years, right here on the America's Voice. Be back in a sec. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. There's this phenomenon that I've experienced here, and not just me, but most Americans. There's this phenomenon, and this phenomenon is moderators turning in to debaters. This happened about 4 years ago, I think it maybe was. And it surrounds one person and I think you know what the name is and who the person is. This is a problem here. I'm more of a fan of two of the guys standing on the stage there, or girls, generic. You know, don't want to offend any of you feminists out there. But I'm more of a fan of two of you guys, the two guys standing on the stage and going to battle. Actually handing each other's hats. True sportsmanship. The definite article. And we see who wins. One person's going to lose. But as I looked at the two dueling town halls the other evening, on Thursday of last week, I was proudful and also embarrassed at the same time. Here's the reason why I was proudful. I had proudful in me, full of pride. One, Donald Trump handling himself, still willing to take the arrows in his cowboy hat, so to speak. You know, here he comes through the little... Hey, Mr. Trump, we want to have a town hall with you. We're going to be fair. We're going to be impartial. I almost sound like Obama. And you come and ask questions, and we got some people there, the crowds we'll take great care of you. Soon as he comes in, they see him. There they go. And he's shooting the arrows. Savannah Guthrie, another leftist disgrace, sat there and instead of interviewing the president and prepping him for questions for the audience, the American people, that's me, that's you, she took the first 20, 21 minutes, 22 minutes to try to lambaste, fillet, and peel the skin off of the president of the United States with gotchas because she did not feel the questions were answered after the debate with Joe Biden. What gives you the right? Who the hell do you think you are? Okay? You're a borderline washed up journalist. Oh, excuse me. Activist posing as a journalist. It's tons of them out there now. And it seems like they're breeding this crap in these colleges. So therefore, once again, another area where the government should be out of our lives and leave us the hell alone. So everything started out fine, you know, with the president, you know, seemed like everyone's in great spirits. He's in great hands with NBC, you know, also the moderator. It was all smooth and it's all good. And here we go. As soon as we start, let's check out video bite number 4, please.
Herd immunity. That's where you basically just let young people and everybody get sick. You try to protect the old people and those who are sick, and hopefully it gets up to a certain level, and now we're all immune. Yeah. So let's just be clear about it. It also means more deaths. Questions on COVID, so let's drop it for now. We were supposed to, as mentioned, be watching you on a debate stage right now. We're not doing that, so let's clear up a few things from the last one. You were asked point blank to denounce white supremacy. In the moment, you didn't. You asked some follow-up questions.
Cities that are run by Democrats who don't know what they're doing.
While we're denouncing, let me ask you about QAnon. Completely not true.
So
and disavow QAnon in its entirety.
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you another thing.
Let's wait.
A lot of people have asked you, will you accept a peaceful transfer of power? You have said repeatedly, the only way we lose this election is if it is rigged. Now, that is simply not true. The fact is, either candidate can lose fair and square without ballot fraud.
Ballots from our great military, and they're dumped in garbage cans.
That is a handful. We could go all night, which we won't.
Every day, they're talking about ballots that are corrupt, that are fraudulent.
And millions that are being processed right now.
But you can win a race. Take a look at me. You can win a race by 1%.
But why are you laying the groundwork for that right now? It's like if I go play tennis with my husband and I say my ankle's hurting right now.
I don't want that to happen. And thousands of lives.
Did you?
I was early. I was extremely early when I put on the travel ban.
Can I ask you, did your national security advisor on January 28th in the Oval Office warn you that this would be the greatest national security risk of your administration?
Go out and say everybody's going to die.
Isn't there a middle ground? You don't have to mislead, but you can.
No.
So they have a model that your coronavirus task force relies on. Says that if everyone wore a mask, you could cut expected deaths in half.
And then you have other people that
60,000 lives.
disagree. He will tell you
He's
that
not
he
an
disagrees
infectious
with you.
disease expert.
Oh, I don't know. He's an expert. He's one of the great experts of the world.
But I don't get it because you have so much power and influence as president.
I'm
You
all
could
for
go
it.
to you
By
could
the way,
require it at your rallies,
I
and
never
you could
said don't wear
say,
it.
everyone put on a mask right now. And the University of Washington says you would
Savannah,
save
University
lives.
of- But then you have a report coming out 2 days ago that 85% of the people wearing masks
I looked at that
catch it.
report. It's not about mask wearing. It was neutral on the question of masks.
we're on the same side. The individual mandate is gone. That was the worst
You
part.
repealed, but you haven't replaced. Now you've been in office
no.
almost 4 years.
What we
you
have done-
you had both houses of Congress, Senate and House, in Republican hands.
What was that, guys? That's my little montage there that I put together of the interruptions and you know, the desire to test people on what's important to them. You look at the lefties, everyone on the left. Here's the things they're concerned about. QAnon. Who cares about QAnon? The president has access to the whole world. You think he's sitting in a room with his little red tie on thinking about QAnon? No, he isn't. Because I'm not. The lefties, they think about the denunciation of white supremacy. Or why ain't you wearing your mask? Mask shaming. That's what they're concerned about. I don't care about those things. I care about if my president's going to tell the truth or not. I care about if my president has corruption under his belt or not, if he's going to guide and steer this country the right way. That's what we should be concerned about. But it seems like the media has no clue. They don't want to know. But you know, did you see her? She was just doing her job correctly, wasn't she, ladies and gentlemen? She was a good little journalist, a good little moderator, just like Chris Wallace, just like Susanna Page. These people should be somewhere else away from the candidates and allow them to go fist the cuffs. So I want you guys to think about that. What did you think when you saw it? The little scowl, the smirk on her face, you know, the condescending attitude, shouting the president down. So she's attempting to bash the president over the head with fake, skewed numbers. Why? Why was 43 questions asked from the moderator? Why? Why did the audience only get 10 questions and they were the ones who came there to see the president? They're the ones who have to inconvenience themselves and get babysitters or rearrange their working schedule to travel and things like that to come see the president. They didn't come to see you. In fact, they don't even know who you are. So 43 questions versus 10 questions to the audience whom came to see the president. Total disgrace. These people are a joke. But the bias, it was an ambush and it was a setup. Well, the debate was canceled, she says. Well, no, it wasn't. It still happened with Savannah Guthrie going against the president of the United States in the garb and the clothing of a journalist. And you're really a fake phony. The disrespect to Donald Trump, the disrespect to the presidency. These extreme lunatics are constantly going, and all they want to do is find a way to take them down. Extreme levels of problems. Okay? And they said they take all the power out of the hands of the Republicans, the problems would be over. I don't think so. So here she is. And they bring up taxes. What is the obsession with the president's taxes? I don't care about the taxes. Is the country running effectively? Is the country moving forward? If the answer is yes, that works for me, and that should work for you. First of all, they're bringing out these taxes, and the president answered the question. First of all, it's illegal. And I would push for a leak investigation from the Department of Justice, but they're corrupt and they got problems too. Even under Bill Barr, there are people that are still there that are in the works. I don't care if they're from the Obama administration, from the Bush administration, never Trumpers, whatever they are. They're still there. And Gina Haspel in the CIA, I'd fire her. Christopher Wray, I'd fire him. They're stonewalling, and we know what's out in the open. Ladies and gentlemen, the Russia hoax, the biggest hoax, the first one in American history. And they keep making these hoaxes on the president, and these lunatic liberal people, well, I missed the words, but these lunatics, they bite on it every single time. And so it's illegal. They're not going to do a leak investigation, which they should. I've been calling for it for quite some time now. And if he owes money to somebody, that's his business. I'm sure every one of you guys have owed money to somebody in some point in your life. I don't care if it was a nickel or a penny, which I don't care for brown money. And if you're on a lower scale, you're going to have lower debt. If you're a multi-billionaire, your debt's going to be higher. Oh my gosh. Boys and girls, we're going to start the class today, and I'm going to be your teacher. Let me educate you. And the moderator, Steve Scully, that was supposed to moderate the last debate that was canceled because the counsel for the debates, they counseled it without even talking to any of the candidates. The fix is in. And so even about Sleepy Joe Biden, you guys remember the other day he had a town hall. And he had like 3 people there. It was awesome. They were excited. But I want to focus on real quick for this guy named Cedric. He asked him a question about why should he vote for him? Why should I vote for you, Mr. Biden? You know, and I want to hear something other than, you know, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's what he said. It took him 7 minutes to answer the question. And I had to break it down to probably like a minute because it was just redundant. Video bite number 6. Let's go, please.
Cedric Humphrey. He's a student from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, progressive Democrat.
Don't jump, Cedric. You look like you're way up there.
I'll be okay. Thank you, George. And good evening, former Vice President Biden. Many people believe that the true swing demographic in this election will be black voters under the age of 30. Not because they'll be voting for Trump, but because they won't vote at all. I myself have had this exact same conflict. So my question for you then is, besides you ain't black, what do you have to say to young black voters who see voting for you as further participation in a system that continually fails to
What happens when you let them go to school, they make up rapidly whatever shortcoming they had in terms of their education, have not heard as many words spoken, et cetera, et cetera. What happens is that the studies show that 58% will increase by 58% their chance of going all through 12 years of school and going through successfully. We'll also provide for the ability to bring in social workers and school psychologists. We have one school psychologist in America that are poor, but in all schools. Because we learned that, for example, drug abuse doesn't cause mental illness. Mental illness causes drug abuse. To graduate, or you graduated from school and you want to own your first home, or well, it's awful hard to get the money, and depending on the background, what's your economic entrepreneur, you're going to be able to attract, if it's government money as a guarantee, you'll be able to attract another $100,000 in Congress from $1.5 billion to $30 billion to $30 billion. That'll take $300 billion off the sideline and grow because and for example, if you, in fact, circumstances to give people a real opportunity.
Cedric, did you hear what you needed?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, do you hear what you needed to hear?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot more if you're going to hang around afterwards, I'll tell you more.
Okay.
Let's get it.
Gotta love that Joe Biden, huh? Yep. Gotta love them, black people. How about that Violent Control Law Enforcement Act of 1994? Or all known as the crime bill. You know, that bill that Joe Biden attempts to avoid at all cost, that he doesn't really want to talk about because it might incite hatred and violence inside of black people. It might want to make black people not give them their vote. Something to think about. But I'm going to educate you a little bit on this crime bill. It was 1994, and I remember it well. Commonly referred to as a 1994 crime bill, the Clinton crime bill, or, ladies and gentlemen, Biden crime law is what it was. And so he has that mantle. You can't take this history away. As much as we burn down buildings and tear down and pull down statues, as much as we try to denounce the American history and culture that we have, it still is what it is. As much as you guys try to dress up a pig and put lipstick on him, all the best perfumes in the world, that pig is still corrupt. And I don't like passing out names, but I'm gonna do it today because these people are lunatics. The crime bill is an act of Congress dealing with crime and law enforcement. It became law in 1994. It is the largest crime bill in the history of the United States and consisted of 365 pages that provided 100,000 new police officers. But let me ask you a question. If we're adding all these cops in extreme measures, why are we attempting to defund the police, Democrats, in 2020? Can someone answer that question for me, please? And they can't. It's always crickets. A stirring of crickets, I say. The stirring of crickets. Let's continue. Let's stop for a second and fast forward to 2020. Okay? Look at the climate out here. Black people still not having the knowledge of what this man did, but they're still running to the polls. Kind of like P. Diddy, starting a black party and then go around and endorse Joe Biden. How dumb can you be? You're trying to escape the plantation. So it's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Mr. P. Diddy, you know, all about the Benjamins, baby. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. That's him. That P. Diddy, yeah. The one that, well, anyways, let's not get off on that. But anyways, let's say, for instance, he's going to escape the plantation. I'm going to go slave master again on y'all. And these is white pies only. But he escapes. And as he escapes, he creates this black party to fight racism and police brutality. And they all become little YouTube watching, dome drinking, pacified, soft, sissified, a generation of people, right? And so he creates this black, and I'm funny, I'm like creating all stuff on there. Let's keep it simple, ladies and gentlemen. But no, he creates this black party. And so he leaves the plantation, creates a black party, and then comes back and say, Massa, I love you so much. Please let me vote for you. I brought all these other black people, Massa, all these other black people. And they like white pies too. But if they can't have none, we make some black pies. The absurdity. But $9.7 billion in fundraising for prisons, $6.1 billion funding for prevention programs. Think about the money, which were designed with significant input from experienced police officers sponsored by the U.S. Representative Jack Brooks of Texas. Okay? And here's the crazy thing, ladies and gentlemen. These people that sign these bills into law, the people that have to live with it and under it, these people go and they die or they leave this planet. And we're still here living under these harsh laws, which is horrible. Let me continue. The bill was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton. Senator Joe Biden of Delaware drafted the Senate version of the legislation. In cooperation with the National Association of Police Organizations and also incorporating the Violence Against Women, the VAWA, with Senator Orrin Hatch, which was wishy-washy too. But see here, he had the support of the police officers, even though it was a bad bill. I'm going to share a little bit more with the bill with you guys, but ladies and gentlemen, black people, the crime bill was a bad bill. I remember this, okay? And he now they won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. They don't want to touch it with a squad car. They don't want to touch it with handcuffs. Okay, Paris thought Joe Biden handcuffed to a bed. I didn't say that. Anyways, but what about the repercussions of this bill? As they put this bill into action and acted this bill, I started to see the trickle effect. First of all, I saw fear in people on the streets. And maybe there should be a healthy level of fear. Shouldn't it be? Should it be a healthy level of fear for everyone that if you're doing wrong, if you're evading police, if you're hurting your fellow citizen, you probably should have some level of fear. But not us if we're Americans, God-fearing Americans. Oh, I said that God word. Ooh, they're going to be so scared there. But What did this bill do to the blacks? To this day, what did it do? Here's one thing that it did. One, it authorized the death penalty for 60 new federal offenses. So what that means is offenses that were, not death penalty related, those offenses, flew on the radar, you get more jail time or whatever. Well, they added more offenses to net more people. The people they were attempting to net were young black men that were misled. Like Obama said, the rate of a black man succeeding without both parents in his home is almost 4 to none. You have to have a strong will to fight past that. And that's why a lot of these streets. But 60 new offenses, known as the direct descent of lynching. Okay? This is what it was called, guys. They have the names for all this stuff here. Look it up. I love giving information. Us conservatives, we're not immune to facts. As conservatives, we love facts. We love information. We love to battle in the arena of ideas, which is dead in social media, and we'll talk about that shortly. I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit for that one. But it was called, this one here was called the direct descendant of lynching. The death penalty was always targeted to terrorize black and Latino ex-communities. The Crime Bill's Federal Death Penalty Act permitted the use of death penalty for 60 new federal offenses, including certain drug offenses not related to homicide. Not related to homicide, guys. So I can see if you give someone drugs and they OD or something like that, negligence, manslaughter, whatever. But we're talking about things, drug offenses, to where it ain't got to do with anybody even dying. So think about that. So what they did, they put this whole broad net over these communities. One community was going to be the black community. The other community was going to be Latino. And that's pretty much what it is. Because they felt like they were the problem. The Crime Bill's Federal Death Penalty Act permitted the use of penalty of 60 new federal offenses, including certain drug offenses not related to a homicide. In the 5 years following the Crime Bill's passage, 74% of the defendants with death penalty recommendations from the federal prosecutors were people of color. Notably, 44% were black and 21% were Hispanic. Let me repeat that. 74% of the descendants with death penalty recommendations from the federal prosecutors were people of color. Notably, 44% were black people. 22% were Latino. So we have what, a 65% ratio there? That's a lot of people in the community. 2, they imposed mandatory life sentences for individuals with 3 or more felony convictions. The crime bill implemented a rash of new 3-strike laws that impose automatic life sentences for people convicted of certain felony offenses if they already had 2 convictions on their record. Guys, this was a blanket power grab, a blanket business move to empower the police and the federal government, state government to imprison black men, black women, Latino men, Latino women. I'm not a sycophant to be out there, Black Lives Not Matter or No Matter. I'm not those guys. But this bill was horrible. And I remember people going to prison back then because they caught their 3rd strike. You heard about it in songs. It was a big deal. And so dozens of states followed suit and enacted 3 strikes laws, resulting in a ballooning of incarceration, the rate in certain states, especially for black and Latino ex-Americans. Imposing life sentences simply because an individual has a criminal record disproportionately targets people of color who are more likely to have a record in the first place because of unequal contact with the police. You see what we're experiencing right now in 2020. We got Jacob Blake, Rashard Brooks, George Floyd, which started a whole crux of the mess that we see now, which a lot of stuff is dovetailed off into phoniness. When are we going to wake up, America? So, it also says harsh collateral consequences, limited employment opportunities for returning people. So if they got out of prison back in the 90s, it was hard to get a job back then. I remember it was horrible. You couldn't get a job. And they ask, you know, you go in there, fill out your application, right? And you're sitting in your chair and you're looking down and it has that one question. You know what the question is. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? What do? Do you lie because you want to eat? Do you tell the truth and risk still not getting the job again and again and again? People lied. Still didn't work because they were checking backgrounds and things you can't do today, they were able to do it back then. And for sure, they should be able to do it nowadays because there'd be some slugs and slackers at these jobs. But I want to continue to break this down here and we're going to move on. But this crime bill was some bad legislation. Then we're going to get off into another segment and we're going to talk about big tech. But you guys are right here, absolutely in the right place with your debonair, captain of the universe, right here on the airwaves, on the internet, and also in your mind with truth, bombarding every single leftist, Yanni. And this is your group, the American's Voice. See you guys in a second.
Tell me what you gon' do to me. Confrontation ain't nothing new to me. You could bring a bullet, bring a sword, bring a morgue, but you can't bring the truth to me. You ain't know your expectations. I don't even want your congratulations. I recognize your false confidence and calculated promises all in your conversation. I hate people that feel entitled. Look at me crazy cause I ain't invite you. Oh, you important, you the moral to the story. You endorsing, motherfucker, I don't even like you. Corrupt a man's heart with a gift. That's how you find out who you dealing with. A small percentage you I'm building with. I want the credit if I'm losing or I'm winning. On my mama, that's the realest shit.
Let's talk about love. Using anything and everything you offer. I never feel it on you. I never feel it on you.
Talking about the harsh collateral damage. So much damage from this crime bill. Welcome back everyone to the American's Voice. Still just stunned looking at and going over the history and just reminiscing on the time. And just continuing a little bit of this article here. It said here that the harsh collateral consequences with those limited employers, you remember we were talking about that, right? Not having or unable to get a job. Just a horrible thing. But here's the thing that stood out to me most. That crime bill's 3-strike law is what they called it. You know, 3 strikes you're out, you know, kind of like playing baseball. It almost felt like that you were a game. That you were a piece in a whole big scheme. 1, to get business, because prison is business. And 2, to get rid of black people and Latino people off the street. Apparently they're the problem. And that goes back to upbringing. That goes back to your household. That goes back to having a father and mother in a home. This stuff statistically is true. And we can try to deny it, guys, and try to say, oh, I want 2 mommies and 2 daddies if that's what you want. But something's going to be imbalanced there. Something has to give. Somebody has to sacrifice. But let's continue with this crime bill madness here. The crime bill's 3-strike provision sent thousands of Americans to prison based on their previous offenses for minor crimes such as stealing loose change from a parked car. You can't make this stuff up, guys. In 2016, 78% of the Americans serving life sentences in prison were people of color. Now that's something to think about. We're going to elect this man, or we want to elect this man, President of the United States of America. We won't put all this trust in someone who's never given me an example of any type of success. someone who's never built a business, someone who's never made a payroll, someone who's never opened the doors for black people, but you see what he did with the 100,000 cops added. Now they're trying to placate because times have changed and the mode in America's changed and people want to hate the police, and so now that's your stance. So now you want to get rid of them. 3, they levied harsh penalties for justice involved in the youth. Okay? The crime bill also expanded to school to prison pipeline, increased racial disparities in juvenile justice involvement by cheating and creating draconian penalties for so-called super predators. Black men. That's what Joe Biden called you. Super predators. And so you have kids. Among other things, the crime bill allowed prosecutors to charge 13-year-old children. So imagine your 13-year-old son or daughter as adults for certain crimes. As a result, not thinking that the frontal lobe is not completely developed. That's the last thing to develop on children is the frontal lobe, which deals with judgment making, decision making, more stable thinking, the outview, their physical outview, their philosophy is becoming more stabilized. That's why you can't drink until you're 21. But 13-year-olds, and as a result, 2/3 of Americans who were sentenced to life in prison as juveniles are black. 2/3. That's something else to think about. I'm going to give you guys a lot of stuff to think about today. Juveniles of color also constitute a majority of cases that are transferred from adult criminal court, regardless of the offense or the category. Welcome to Joe Biden's America that he created for everyone. But that's on the crime bill. So I hope I got you guys caught up on that. Okay. Rudy Giuliani was on Lou Dobbs on Friday. And he had a few words of wisdom. He's all on this little laptop thing. He had all the information. But, Rudy Giuliani has a lot of information. He's smart up here. With New York, he did the stop frisk policy out there. The crime was dropped. Can't say the same thing about de Blasio. What a failed mayor. Probably the worst mayor in New York history. And which is sad if you're down there painting with people that are burning up your city. And they'll replace you in a second. You're a dummy. And that's your fault for being a leftist. But I want to move on to the tech giants here. You guys see they've been in the news a lot lately. And I want to run a couple things by you guys and see what you think. Section 230 laws. Is it time to repeal them? Is it time to pull them back? Is it time to rein them in? Or is it time for us to allow them to stay? Should we allow Section 230 laws to remain for Facebook, for Twitter? And realistically, I wonder if they should even look at Google, right? But the censoring of information, they were doing some studies, and I might be a little off on this here, but kind of ballpark. But they were talking about the employees, the number of employees, the percentage of employees that are at these places. And I'm going to run through this, and we're going to move to the next topic because I got some other things I got to talk about, and we don't want to run out of time. But 98% of the employees, the base there at Twitter, anywhere between 96 and 98%, somewhere in that area. It's a high percentage. Facebook employees base, anywhere between 94 to 98%. Now, those numbers are still kind of high. But let's play a game. Let's say if it's 70%, 70-30, 70% Democrats or leftists or flaming leftists, and 30%, 20% Republicans or someone that's more right-leaning. What will the face of that company look like? How will the customers be perceived if they're Republicans based on their voting affiliation or the party they want to run with? It's something to really think about too. Because they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Okay? They're profiling who they hire, I'm sure. They have probing questions for you to have a high level of people like that there, or they subtract them. You know, Silicon Valley, and Trump has his eye on them, guys. I've never in this many years seen not just Republicans, but a lot of people upset about this whole suppression of speech thing. And so let's move. How could this number be so high, though? Think about it. These people are controlling traffic. So in order to control traffic, if they want to shut things down, you have to pack your business. Just like packing the court. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, Twitter and Facebook, they're packing their businesses like they plan to pack the courts if they get elected. First one to say it. That's the only way the percentage can be that high. Okay? And so Senator Tom Tillis, he has his eye on these guys here. And over at Breitbart, Tom Tillis is going after big tech. You know, after the Burisma report that didn't get out, it seemed like everything that Trump does can get out. Things that Biden does never gets out. You know, this is almost like the Trump-Biden show, right? Because that's what we need to be. We need to see that. Let's see here. Over at Breitbart, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas on Thursday warned big tech, the oligarchs, that they will soon face regulation after Twitter and Facebook censored reports from the New York Post that were unflattering, to former Vice President Joe Biden. Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. It says right here, after the Post's first article published, Facebook reduced their contributions or distribution, and Twitter slapped a warning label on them and locked accounts belonging to the Post and those associated with the Trump campaign, preventing anyone from sharing the stories, claiming that they violated their policy on hacked material. When did they become, oh snap, I forgot, they're the oligarchs, right? They're the oligarchs, so they have all the answers. But here's the thing though. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey later apologized for the initial reaction and removed the warning label, but was not before the Republican senators requested subpoenas. So he had to get pressure put on him first, claiming they violated the policy of the hack material. I said that already. Subpoenas for the heads of Facebook and Twitter to testify before the Senate. Guys, these senators are locked in on these guys. Now the congressmen are locked on them, the senators locked on them, the president's locked on them, and even more so than that, the American people are locked on these guys. These jokers, they come and they become mega wealthy, mega rich. They have these platforms that have people the size of countries, okay? And then they come here in America and they thumb their nose at us like we don't exist, like we're not important. And it's a disgrace to the American people. So Tom Cotton's after them there. You have big tech oligarchs declaring war on Donald Trump and on the Republican Party, on conservatives across America, Cotton said on Trump campaign press call on Thursday, refusing to allow the people the URL of a story. Then they just issue a mealy-mouthed apology saying that they could have communicated better. That is not exactly what the standard of the big tech oligarchs apply to every story about Donald Trump for the last 5 years. The last 5 years, they've been beating him up, spreading the lies, allowing it to be him to be implicated in Russia lies or propaganda, things that aren't true. And it's so sad because it only happens on one side, the side of Donald Trump. So here they are directing traffic. They're on this information highway called the internet or social media, this platform that you plug into. Over 30,000 foot view. Look at this 30,000 foot view. If you were an area manager of a business or an area coach and you watch what they do, you know how they vote by their actions. The algorithms, if you're a conservative, you're subject to censorship. If you're a conservative, they identify you. These liberals, they start to bash you and try to silence you on a small level, and it goes into the Democratic Party, it goes into society. Just wear a MAGA hat. And it also goes on a platform now. So where are we safe? Where can we have safe haven? And that's why I tell people to go over to Parler. and plug in over there. Dan Bongino and alike and the rest of those guys, they have an incredible platform over there that we can use. And your voice won't be silenced. Also, too, Justice Thomas, once again, here we go again. Justice Thomas has another view as well. And, he doesn't really weigh in on things a lot. But Justice Clarence Thomas, another one over at Breitbart, Section 230 protections for big tech are too broad. They're for the mom and pops, guys. Okay? Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas argued that Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, CDA, is applied too broadly to social media companies in recent letter. The law, which was passed at the beginning of the .com era, allows internet companies to avoid liabilities for content that has been posted by users in their platform, and rightfully so. That's how it should be, right? It should be like that. But they got their hands in the cookie jar and the money got them. According to Thomas, many courts have construed the law broadly, okay, to confer sweeping immunity on some of the largest companies in the world, not just in America. Guys, these are the largest companies in the world. We're giving them power with their information. They sell your information to third-party people. And you don't know who these people are. And so I say it's time for us to start pulling our stuff back from them and take it back. So go and check that over at Breitbart. They shut you down. You talk about hydroxychloroquine, all that stuff like that. Because the orange man in the White House, he's bad. That orange man, he's after everybody in America. Okay? And it's like a religion for these folks. Dr. Fauci, Twitter, Facebook, the Democrats, uber liberals. Over 50 years, you have this drug out here being used, minimal side effects, and it's no problem. But soon as Donald Trump says something about it, here comes the tech oligarchs shutting them down. Kind of reminds me of a story in the Bible back in the day. And it was in a book of Exodus. You guys remember the story, right? Moses was trying to let the people go, get the people freed from Israel. And Pharaoh didn't want to let them go. Pharaoh had different plans. And Pharaoh had said in the Bible, and I'm not trying to get religious or spiritual on the show, it's not about that, but I got to make a point here. It said that over time, as Moses kept coming back and making the plea for the children of Israel, it said that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. That means a heart of flesh became a heart of stone. Same way with these tech companies. They had chance after chance after chance. They lied. Hey, they get called in before Congress. What's going on here? Oh, nothing. Everything's fine. Okay. Get called in front of Congress. Hey, make sure you're not trying to hold the people's voice captive. Let them go. Let them express themselves. This is a free platform of ideas, a debate and arguments, a free exchanges of ideas to the information highway. Oh, no problem. And they kept playing with fire. Their heart got hardened. They got bolder. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? They got caught. And it's about damn time. Anyways, so now they're in the crosshair. I see it, you see it, the American people see it, everybody sees it. And so let's keep an eye on them. Lastly, I want to chat on the derangement of the Trump deranged people out here that will consider you and me maggots right here in a sec on the American's Voice. See you in 2. back, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to continue to move on. And we're going to get this lightning round, bang, 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 going. That's what we are. I want to move on here and switch topics a little bit, very, very extremely, but still dealing with lunatics. And I want to tell you guys something you probably don't know. If you don't know, here's the secret here. If you are a supporter of the president, you are a maggot. Ooh, a maggot. You are the disgrace of the earth. You're walking dead is what you are. Former ESPN host Keith Olbermann calls out for the persecution and conviction of those tied to Trump. That will be me and that will be you. Video bite number 7. Check out this loser.
Task is twofold. The terrorist Trump must be defeated, must be destroyed, must be devoured at the ballot box. And then he and his enablers and his supporters and his collaborators and the Mike Lees and the William Barrs and the Sean Hannitys and the Mike Pences and the Rudy Giulianis and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Amy Coney Barretts must be prosecuted and convicted and removed from our society while we try to rebuild it. And to rebuild the world Trump has nearly destroyed by turning it over to a virus. Remember it, even as we dream of a return to reality and safety and the country for which our forefathers died, that the fight is not just to win an election, but to win it by enough to chase, at least for a moment, Trump and the maggots off the stage, and then try to clean up what they left. Remember it, even though to remember it means remembering that the fight does not end November 3rd, but in many ways,
is that what you want?
Will only begin.
Is that what you want, America? People to think about your fellow Americans like that in that manner? To look at the deluded mindset. These people are truly mental. These people don't have it together. And let's talk about Mandy, mentally manic Potemkin. Video clip number 8. This lady, I got 2 bites here, video bite 8 and video bite 9. 1, she's losing her crap. And then 2, she's going to be showing us a Trump dance, which when I saw it, I almost threw up on my white shirt and all over my computer. Don't do that. Video bite 8 and 9, please.
My hip's a little sticky from sitting for an hour. This is my interpretive Trump dance. Start with that head. Pick off that hair. Hair off. Head into the neck. Into that ugly red tie. Squish. I'm squishing you down to the sides. There you go. And now I am sitting on you, wrapping you up, tying you up in a bow, and picking you up and putting you in fucking garbage, where you will be in the garbage dump of history, because you will go down as one of the worst leaders of the world. If you don't destroy the world, if you do have history, armed to make sure that Amy Coney Barrett, whatever the her name is, gets nominated. Yeah. What has happened to America? Every indigenous person whose ancestors were killed. I don't want to have to be a refugee and leave this country. I want the White House, I want the Senate, I want the state legislature to be just drowned in Democrats. And then we can figure out how to fix things and see where we agree and disagree. I held it together.
Just disgraceful. And that's what you guys want? That is the Democrat Party today, guys. That is them, their mindset mentally leaving them. And we can see it. Trump has taken over their brain. The antibody is taking over the cells and their ability to think. Oh, no, they've never had the ability to think. They've always been left. Anyways. But the media bias and the lies, the constant slander, Trump was talking about that as well. Now, don't your heart just go out for the president? The media should take a hit. The media's time is coming. They're at a crossroads. You know, when Trump was doing his thing today, Trump brought up and saying, hey, when I'm gone, basically, you guys ain't going to have nothing to do. CNN, MSNBC, all the alphabet media platforms, all deceit and lie. They lie all the time. The town hall debate, the ambush is what I call it, is proof that the media, they need to be upended and realigned and refigured. Again, they've taken their protections just like the Section C-230 provisions. They've abused it. Their freedom of speech, freedom of press. The press is no longer the press. The press has been hijacked. The press has been taken over by a party. It is an arm and an extension of a Democrat party. Rush believes it. Mark Levin believes it. Dan Bongino believes it. Devin Nunes believes it. I believe it. Sean Hannity believes it. Laura Ingraham believes it. Laura Logan believes it. I mean, tons of people, scores of people that use their brain in this country. We saw that. The relentless onslaught the American people have endured the last 4 years plus from the media, from the Democrats, from the Never Trumpers. It is a gross understatement to say that this man has been treated unfairly, grossly. And it's been a long time. The media's been gone for a long time. It's time for us to reset the media. It's time for us to reset it in sports. It's time for us to reset it in Hollywood. And it's the ultimate reset. Let's reset America. Let's keep America great. Donald Trump was able, with the help of the American people, make America great. I take great pride in my country. Everyone should, but they don't. Everyone that's under the sound of my voice, excuse me. Hear me out here. Thank God for President Donald Trump. Thank God for him. Think about the corruption we wouldn't know about if it wasn't for Trump. Everything everybody was trying to hide. All the corruption in Washington, the intelligence agencies, the unelected arms of the government, the bureaucrats, the Hillary Clintons of the world, how she's rotten to the core. The Obamas, the Clappers, the Comeys, the Brennans, the Susan Rices. You know all them. These people are at the highest levels of our government. And they were taking advantage of us. Us. How can we let this stand? And they were out to try to, they concocted this sinister plan to unseat, to remove a duly elected president of the United States of America. What gives them the right? And this should scare you and shake you to your core. This is how banana republics are ran. Okay? And so what they want to do, they want to capitalize on the calmness and the Marxist society. They want to thrive on the weakness of the people. First of all, the promises give away. This is how the societies break down. They make all these promises to everyone. I'm going to give you this, give you that. They become Santa Claus. Second, they begin to program you. The mediums, the newspaper, the social media platforms, the news channels and stations, social justice platforms. And when the slow trickling, the churning of the silencing happens, you be in your office one day and you say something and your friend says, "Do you think that's appropriate to say that?" Someone else hears the person say, "Do you think that's appropriate to say that?" And so on and on and on. And it catches on. And then it becomes an echo chamber. And the trickle-down effect of censorship begins. At first, you might feel a little bit of a rattle, a little bit of a bite. The circular reasoning, not that big a deal. The Democrat parties believe that what you're saying against them is an act against them. Then lastly, they begin to practice, and they sporadically, all over the country, they start shutting down speech, start censoring your speech. This isn't appropriate. That's not appropriate. Who said so? I'm an adult. I should be able to speak my mind. Remember freedom of speech? It's only good for them when they're saying what they want to say. So, they'll break you down. And the media, they've compromised. The media, they've sacrificed. The media, they've sacrificed their image, their integrity at the altar of trying to hate Donald Trump. I've never seen anyone hate a man so much in my life. And so the constitutional protections that they have with the media and all these celebrities and stars and sports, we need a reset. And I'm out of time, and I have too much stuff to get to, so I have to catch you next week. But you guys, we're close to the election, and we have a country to save. So hang in there, and this week, impact one person for your country, and let's get this country on track, past COVID, get rid of the mask, and keep America great. And you guys, we can do it together on the American's Voice. And I'm your Sky Captain, Yanni, checking out for this week. See you next week.